Lights, cameras, gold belts wrapped around waists, millions of dollars deposited into bank accounts after 15 minutes of work. To the average person watching on a Saturday night, the UFC looks like glory. It looks like the ultimate lottery ticket won through violence. They see the finish line, they see the flashy cars and the fame, but they never see the race. They never see the 5 a.m. runs in the freezing rain when the lungs burn and the spirit wavers. They never see the silent rooms where fighters sit alone, questioning why they even started this path. But you are not here for the highlights. You are here because something inside you watches that cage and thinks, I belong there. You feel that heavy pull in your chest when the arena goes dark and the crowd starts to roar. The gap between your couch and the UFC Octagon is an ocean of blood, sweat, and broken dreams. 99% of people drown halfway across because they lack the map. Today, we are not just watching, we are deconstructing the architecture of a professional killer. This is the mentor method, the blueprint for your transformation. Welcome to your Genesis. Phase 1 is about humility. It's about accepting that right now, in this brutal world of martial arts, you are absolutely nothing. You are a blank canvas, and the world is about to paint on you with bruises and sweat. You need a primary weapon system. Modern MMA has evolved at lightning speed, and it has proven one undeniable thing. You cannot be a jack of all trades from day one. If you try to learn everything at once, striking, wrestling, and clinching, you will simply be mediocre at everything. You'll be a bad striker, a clumsy wrestler, and an easy target. You must immerse yourself in one discipline first. This is your anchor. Wrestling is the most proven base in UFC history. It is the ultimate tool because it allows you to dictate where the fight happens. If you want it on the ground, it goes to the ground. If you want to stand, you stay standing. On the other hand, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gives you the ultimate insurance policy when your back is against the mat. It turns a defensive position into a deadly trap. Or perhaps you choose Muay Thai, which turns your entire body into a symphony of destruction, shins, knees, and elbows. Spend at least 2 long, agonizing, painful years becoming undeniably dangerous in just one of these areas. Don't look at the other doors until you've mastered the first one. Now let's talk about where you train. Find the right gym, not the fancy commercial one with the juice bar, plush towels, and the cool neon logo on the wall. Avoid the places that look like a spa. Instead, find the gym that smells like old sweat, dry blood, and industrial bleach. Find the place where actual professional competitors train in focused silence, the kind of place where the air is thick and the mats are worn thin. Walk in there, keep your mouth shut, and prepare to be the worst person in the room for 600 days straight. You will get tapped out by people smaller than you. You will get out-wrestled by teenagers who have been doing this since they could walk. If you can't handle the crushing, soul-destroying boredom of daily repetition, you will never, ever handle the high-level violence of the Octagon. Discipline isn't about the highlights, it's about doing the same boring, painful thing better than anyone else on the planet. Welcome to the amateur circuit. This is the official graveyard of dreams. This is the place where you find out if you actually have the heart of a fighter or if you just like the idea of being one. There is a massive, terrifying difference between hitting a heavy bag in a safe, warm gym and having a grown man try to break your nose in front of a screaming crowd. In the amateur world, nobody is paying you. In fact, you are the one paying to get punched in the face. You pay for your own medical exams, your own blood tests, your own travel, and your own equipment. You are fighting in high school gyms or dusty local halls for a plastic trophy. You need at least 10 to 15 amateur fights before you even dare to think about the professional ranks. You need to experience that specific, paralyzing type of fear that freezes your blood 10 minutes before the walkout. This is when the adrenaline dump happens. That chemical surge that makes your arms feel like heavy lead and your legs feel like cement after only 2 minutes of movement. You need to feel the raw, suffocating panic of being trapped under a 200-pound wrestler while the crowd screams and you literally cannot draw a full breath of air. Do not try to protect an undefeated record here. An amateur record of 15-0 against easy opponents is a dangerous lie that you tell yourself. It is a fake shield that will be brutally shattered the moment you turn pro and face a real killer who needs to pay his rent. An amateur record of 10-5 against absolute monsters is pure gold. Lose now so you don't lose later when the lights are bright, the cameras are rolling, and the stakes are life-changing. Use this time to fix every single hole in your game. Learn how to cut weight properly without destroying your kidneys in a sauna. Learn how to stay calm when you are bleeding and losing the fight. Survive this crucible, and you earn the legal right to finally call yourself a professional athlete. This is where the boy dies, and the man is born. You finally turned pro. You got that first win, and maybe even a small paycheck. Phase 3 is the filter. This is where 90% of talented fighters fail and eventually disappear. They fail because they still want to live like regular humans. But if you want that UFC contract, you have to kill the regular version of yourself. Your nutrition must become clinical and absolute. You are no longer a person eating a meal, you are a high-performance engine. You cannot afford to put cheap, dirty fuel in a Formula One machine. Every calorie must serve a purpose: recovery, energy, or inflammation control. You'll be weighing every gram of rice and protein while your old friends are out eating junk and drinking beer. Your sleep is now a non-negotiable part of your job. We are talking 10 hours a day, including deep recovery naps to let your central nervous system heal from the trauma of heavy sparring. If your friends call you to go out on a Friday night, you need to realize you don't belong in their world anymore. Fighting is a jealous and demanding lover. It requires total isolation. You will spend your weekends in ice baths, staring at the wall while everyone else is living a normal life. This is also the stage where you must secure a real manager, not your cousin who watches MMA, but a shark who lives in the industry, someone who knows the UFC matchmakers by their first names and understands the dark chess game of regional matchmaking. You need someone who can map out a strategic win streak against specific styles to make you look like a future champion. In Phase 3, you stop playing at being an athlete. You become a business. Your body is the product, and every choice you make, every meal, every hour of sleep either increases or decreases your market value. If you don't treat your career like a professional company, the industry will break your spirit and spit you out. You have to be obsessed. There is no middle ground in the professional ranks. You are either all in or you are just another name on someone else's highlight reel. How do you actually get the call from the UFC matchmakers? How do you make Dana White notice you among 10,000 other hungry young men? You need visibility. You need to dominate the regional scene so convincingly that the world has no choice but to watch your tapes. Organizations like LFA in the States or Cage Warriors in Europe are the official waiting rooms for the big show. You don't go there just to win. You go there to prove you are light years ahead of the pack. But here is the hard truth. Being a great fighter is no longer enough. The UFC is a multi-billion-dollar content business. It is a machine that sells drama and personality. You must be undeniable inside the cage and marketable outside of it. You need a persona that people can either love or hate, but they can never be indifferent. You must learn how to speak into a microphone with confidence, even when you're bleeding and your heart is racing at 200 beats per minute. You need to give the fans a reason to care. Build a professional record of at least 8 or 9 spectacular wins. The spectacular part is key. The UFC doesn't want boring fighters who grind out safe decisions. They want finishers. They want knockouts and submissions that people will replay 10 million times on social media. Your social media presence is now a weapon. If you have 100,000 followers obsessed with your journey, you are a much more attractive asset to the company. Finally, you have to be ready for the call. It almost never comes when you're prepared. It usually happens at 2 o'clock in the morning because a ranked fighter got injured and they need a replacement in 5 days. In that moment, you don't hesitate. You don't ask about the opponent and you don't complain about the weight class. You just say yes. You grab your gear and you kick that door down. Opportunities in this game are lightning fast. You have to be the kind of man willing to jump into the fire at a moment's notice to change his life forever. When that Octagon door locks behind you for the first time, all the years of silence and suffering will finally make sense. This is your moment. Don't blink.
The path to the UFC is designed to break the average man. It is a brutal, cold filter that removes the weak, the hesitant, and the soft-hearted. It requires years of unpaid suffering, constant physical pain, and a level of ruthless self-assessment that most people can't even imagine. It's a lonely road, paved with broken bones and missed birthdays. But if you follow this blueprint, if you build the foundation, survive the amateur fire, and master the professional lifestyle, you can bridge the gap. You can go from the couch to the world's most famous Octagon. You can go from a fan to a legend. This is your roadmap. This is your genesis. The rest is pure, unadulterated will. Subscribe now to activate your potential and start your climb. Your journey starts with the first round. See you in the cage.